Friends, colleagues, seekers of a life well lived, look around you. Take a moment to consider the room we are in, the air we breathe, the very fact of our being here, together. We often attribute our presence in a moment like this to a complex web of circumstances, to luck, to fate, to the hand we were dealt by forces outside our control. We speak of destiny as if it were a river, and we are merely logs floating upon it at the mercy of the current. But I am here today to challenge that notion. I am here to tell you that you are not the log. You are the river bed. You are the current. You are the architect. For the single most defining, most liberating, and most terrifying truth of the human experience is this: the power of choice. It is a force so fundamental, so omnipresent, that we often overlook it. We treat it like the air we breathe, essential yet invisible. We make hundreds of choices a day without a second thought: what to eat, what to wear, which route to take to work. But in this very automation, we risk forgetting that the same mechanism that governs our breakfast also governs the entire trajectory of our lives. We like to believe that our lives are shaped by the big moments, the job offer, the proposal, the unexpected crisis. And yes, those are the seismic events that leave a mark, but a life is not built from a handful of grand gestures. It is built from the quiet, unbroken accumulation of ordinary choices. It is the 3 a.m. decision to turn off the screen and finally write that first page. It is the choice to swallow your pride and say, "I was wrong, I am sorry." It is the choice to offer a hand to a struggling colleague when no one is watching. It is the choice, day after day, to get back up after you've been knocked down. This, my friends, is where the true power lies, not in the absence of difficulty, but in the response to it. Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the unimaginable horrors of the Holocaust, wrote one of the most profound truths ever committed to paper. He said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom." Let that sink in. Between what happens to you and how you react, there is a space, a pause, a sliver of sovereignty. The power of choice lives in that space. It is the difference between being a victim of circumstance and being the victor over it. You may not have chosen the storm, but you can always choose how to set your sail. This power is a double-edged sword, however, for with the power to choose comes the burden of responsibility. It is far easier to abdicate this power, to say, "I had no choice," to blame our parents, our partners, our economy, our genetics, to claim we are merely products of our environment. How comforting that lie can be, to surrender the wheel and blame the road for the crash. But to surrender your choice is to surrender your life. When you say, "I had no choice," what you are really saying is, "I chose not to choose." You are giving away the most precious currency you possess, your agency. Because the choices you make are a mirror. They do not just shape your future, they reveal your present. They reveal your character. When you choose kindness over spite, you are not just making someone else's day better, you are declaring who you are. When you choose courage over comfort, you are not just tackling a single challenge, you are forging a courageous identity. Every choice is a vote for the person you want to become. Think about the great figures we admire. We look at inventors, artists, leaders, and we marvel at their talent or their luck. But talent is merely potential realized by choice. Luck is simply opportunity recognized by choice. The Wright brothers chose to believe that man could fly, and they chose to keep failing until they didn't. Rosa Parks chose to remain seated, and in that single, deliberate choice, she moved the moral arc of the universe. These were not people with more options than us. They were people who understood that one deliberate choice can act as a lever that moves the world. And what of the choices we avoid? the paths not taken, the words left unspoken. They haunt us far more than our failures ever will. We can recover from a bad choice. We can learn from it, pivot, and grow. But the choice we were too afraid to make, that becomes a ghost that whispers in the back of our minds for a lifetime. What if? The pain of discipline is heavy, but the weight of regret is unbearable. So I ask you today to reclaim your power, to move through this world not as a passenger, but as a pilot. Start small. Become aware of the space between stimulus and response. When anger flares, choose silence before fury. When fear whispers stay, choose to take one step forward. When cynicism says it doesn't matter, choose to act with integrity anyway. Embrace the fact that you will make the wrong choice sometimes. You will stumble. The freedom to choose includes the freedom to fail. But failure is not the opposite of success when you are holding the pen. It is a chapter in the book you are writing. The only true failure is to stop choosing, to surrender the pen to the whims of fate. We stand here, each of us, at a crossroads, not a single grand intersection, but 1,000 small forks in the road that lie before us today, tomorrow, and the day after. Your past does not define you. Your past choices were made by a person you no longer have to be. Your future is not a fixed destination. It is a landscape you are constructing brick by brick with every decision you make. Do not underestimate the power you hold. In a world that often feels chaotic and out of control, your choices are your island of sovereignty. They are your voice. They are your legacy. So choose boldly, choose deliberately, choose compassion, choose integrity, choose to begin. For in the end, we are not the sum of our circumstances, we are the sum of our choices. Choose wisely, choose now. Thank you.